The Knowledge Pro is Best Hour's premier coaching development platform. Built for CrossFit coaches who want to be world class. It contains a full curriculum complete with 26 engaging lessons, live calls, an on-demand video library, one-on-one feedback sessions, and personalized feedback on your coaching. This is professional development, not content, not random, specific, deliberate, and curated to take you from good to great and beyond. The Knowledge Pro, building world-class coaches. Sign up and claim your free 14-day trial at besthouroftheirday.com/the-knowledge.
All right, what's going on, everybody? We are back for the coaching development series. This is episode 3. So this will be my first episode on the specific warm-up, but it's episode 6 in total. Todd and Taylor did his first specific warm-up episode last week. So I'm here with Kristin and ready to get my coaching reviewed.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Yep. Yeah, Andy just said Kristin Bowen. Do you want to say
hi?
hi?
Oh, what's up, Coach? Is he going to come into frame? Hey.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing?
Yeah, she can hear you, but you can't hear her.
And he put me on a gig next weekend.
Oh, that's
my
awesome.
first one like in 8 months.
Yes, I love it. That's awesome. Oh, that was fun. We could end the call now and I would feel like I had a successful day.
Yeah.
Cool. Love that guy. All right. We're going to dive in.
I'm doing my What is Fitness lecture right now.
Oh, yeah. Andy says he's studying for What is Fitness right now.
Good. That's awesome. Ask him. Well, I promise we'll get back to you, Bryson. Ask him where his seminar is.
She wants to know where your seminar is.
Steel Creek.
Steel Creek, Charlotte.
Nice. Yep. Okay. Cool. Really, really cool. Yeah. CrossFit, NFL star and seminar staff. Andy Handel, Coach Handel. Yeah. Let's just get Bryson out of the. We'll get Bryson off screen. We'll pull Andy on there, and Andy and I'll just chat. All right.
Yeah, I'll switch spots.
So, like you said, we did whiteboard brief, general warm up, and now we're leading into specific warm up. We're going to spend a fair amount more time on the specific warm up. Not just. Obviously, we're going to talk about it today, but we're going to have several episodes that dive into specific warm-up because this is like the meat and the potatoes. Like this is where the coaches earn our money, right? So we're going to really dive into that. The workout that you had, why don't you share? Why don't you share
the workout for the workout for this video was every 3 minutes for 7 sets, a number of back squats. 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5 were the sets. And the goal, which I guess isn't super important to this video, but the intended stimulus of the workout was that your 5s are all like an 8 out of 10 effort. And that's kind of like your home base. You're always going to go back down to that weight. And then the 3s will build across. So your first 3 would be an 8 out of 10 effort, still heavier than your 5, obviously, because it's less reps. Then 8.5 on the next set of 3, and then 9 out of 10 effort on the last set of 3 before we're going back down to that final set of 5. So that was the workout for this video.
Spicy. And I think it's good just to have context for, what we're watching and all of that. So obviously pretty traditional, not a traditional rep scheme and execution of it, but traditional heavy day. So back squats, that's what we're working on. So, I have the video queued up. Do you want to go ahead and get it started? Okay, cool. So let me open or get to my page here. We'll make it bigger. Great. Okay, so talk to me a little bit just about your plan for the group, for the specific warm-up. Like, talk to me about like what your focus is, what your goals are. Just give me everything that you want to just lay that out, and then we'll start watching it.
So the first part of the specific warm-up were some wall squats, which we're about to do it in this video. And the biggest thing I'm focusing on is making sure people keep their knees pushed out, because we did bootstrap squats before this in the general warm-up, and I had to keep reminding people to, keep the hands inside, push the knees out. Like I made a lot of corrections there. And I just wanted to make sure that carried over to the wall. So I was really looking at people's knees out, watching their heels, seeing if they're getting too much on their toes, and then also just generally full range of motion.
Okay.
As well.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I love that you started out with the wall squats. Those can sometimes be underutilized, and it's a really great way for the athletes, obviously, to warm up, but can also be like fairly diagnostic for us as coaches, just to kind of see what's going on when you have that wall in front of them, blocking them from being able to hinge forward, and how far away from the wall we get and all that stuff. So let's go ahead and get it playing, and then I'll pause it as soon as I have some stuff to chat about.
All right, guys, once you finish that second round, let's circle up over here on the wall. We're going to do some wall squats together. So for these, we're going to maintain our squat stance. We're going to keep heels shoulder width, toes slightly pointed out. I don't want you to change that just for the sake of getting closer to the wall. All right, so step back as far as...
So you said that you did the bootstrappers prior.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I think that I might request from you for the next video is just to give me a little more on the front end and a little more on the back end.
Yeah.
Just so that I can get a little bit more of a big picture view of what's going down. So even if we're not, and I understand like it makes the file bigger, so I'm not saying like you don't need to send like the entire class, but although if it's, well, I guess it would just take longer. Do you think you'd be able to do that? Just give me a little bit more on the front end and back end?
Yeah, this was a short clip anyway. Like I think the whiteboard brief and general warm-up videos were like twice as long as this, just because it's 2 sections, obviously. But I can definitely do that. And I even thought about that afterwards. I was like, because we already talked about in the last show how there doesn't really need to be like a hard cutoff between what's general warm-up and what's specific warm-up. And I probably could have left at least the last part of the general warm-up in with the bootstrap squats. So I didn't though, and I will next time. But because I didn't, for context, when I was teaching the bootstrap squat, I did talk about how this is our stance and it's going to be the same as our back squat stance. So that's kind of what I'm referencing here when I'm like, hey, it's going to be the same thing we did earlier, heels shoulder width, toes slightly pointed out.
Totally. And one of the things that, again, if I'm going to give you the most accurate feedback I can give you, one of the things that I would be looking for there is, because you introduced the bootstrap squat in general warm-up, it's like, okay, did you go around and correct people's stance there? And you had already mentioned that you're focusing on, people were having trouble pushing their knees out. And so you're kind of focusing on that. And so what then ends up happening is I can start to see, all right, are you using your general warm-up for the purposes that we talked about it before, which is essentially, in addition to all the things like getting them warmed up, starting to make connections with people, like getting the vibe and all that, but we're also collecting like data from the people, right? And it's like, all right, that person tends to want to start a little bit narrow with their squat. That person's knees are caving in on just even on the bootstrappers. I have to keep reminding them to push them out. And so then as we go further into the specific warm-up, especially as we start adding load to our athlete, and this is going to apply for so many more movements other than a back squat, then it's like, all right, are you revisiting the things that you've already told them? And so that's it. It'll just give me a much better idea of like what's going down. However, the benefit of this today is that I am watching it in a little more isolation, a little more of a vacuum. So I'm not going to be like influenced by anything that happened in the general warm-up, kind of looking at it with fresh eyes. So both are beneficial. But next time, if you just include a little bit more, I think that'll be helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. Let's keep going here.
You need to keep that stance, and as far as you need to keep your hands at shoulder width or closer. I want to try to avoid going out with the hands on the way down. All right, so I'm going to call half squat. We'll go halfway down, full, all the way down, stand. We'll all come back up together. It's going to look like this. Say half, full, stand, and we'll do that for a few reps together, all right? So go ahead and find your spot.
Nicely done with just that tell, show, do, check, told them what you wanted, showed them exactly what it's going to look like.
Heels, shoulder width, a little bit wider with the feet again, Michael.
Good, love that.
And let's go hands above your head, shoulder width or closer. Let's go half squat.
Okay, so right away, you obviously gave Michael. Which one is Michael? Can you let us know?
Green hoodie with the black shorts and I don't know if those are knee sleeves or leggings, maybe. But
yeah, I see him. Yeah, he's
Yep.
kind of in the middle, like right to the left of the plates
Yep.
in the middle there. So I'm going to go back just a touch because now that we know who Michael is, I just want to watch and see did he make the correction that we asked him to do.
And let's go hands above
I think you did it right before then.
shoulder width.
All right, so
A
we're
little bit
looking-
wider with the feet
Yeah.
again, Michael.
Yep, great.
And
And
let's go.
man, he really took that literally when you said a little bit, didn't he? Like did like a
Yeah.
little bit of like an inch on each side.
Yeah, I think because like you were saying with the general warm up, and this would have been one of the benefits to keeping it in. On the bootstrap squats, he was someone whose stance I did change, and
From going narrow to
like,
going a little wider.
yeah, and I told him, hey, a
Mhm.
little bit wider, and I'm pretty sure he maybe went too wide, and I was like a little bit close to like, and I kind of fixed it. So I think that's why he understood like exactly
Just
what
a little
I meant
bit.
when I said
Yeah,
a
yeah,
little bit.
and that's great. He was definitely narrow. He went wider. He still looks a little narrow to me, but you know, only time will tell when we see what his squat looks like. Excuse me. So the big thing that popped out to me right away is that he was the only person whose setup you adjusted before you started getting them moving. And I definitely see a few other people that I would have liked to hear you make some setup corrections to. And so I'm gonna, I want to pause it right before they get started. And again, I know that this is before we're watching them do any squats. I know that you already had them do some boot squats and all of that, but just for the purpose of like, let's just evaluate and assess. Just going through from left to right, if we can call, I know you know their names, but for me, if we can go athlete 1, 2, 3, 4, so like Michael would be athlete 4, just talk about their setup position and like kind of what you're seeing.
Hands above your head, shoulder width or close.
Okay, let me start it here because this is where you're going to get started. Okay, so let's start at athlete number 1.
So
and if she looks good to go, you can say good to go.
Yeah, I mean, her hands aren't up yet, but I'm pretty sure they were inside shoulders when she did. Let's go half squat.
Okay, there. Okay. Now everyone's
or at shoulder. I would say that looks like at shoulder width, which is what I told him. I said at shoulders or closer.
She looks. I'll just say right now, she looks pretty narrow to me.
Yeah.
Again, we're gonna see what happens when she squats.
She does squat a little bit narrow,
okay.
But I agree it does look a little bit narrow. She typically squats like that.
Okay. How about number 2?
John could probably be athlete number 2 could probably be a little bit wider.
Yeah, John's pretty darn narrow there for sure.
Yeah.
What about number 3? Was this yesterday, your class?
Yes.
Yeah, everyone's got their St. Patrick's Day gear on, huh? Okay. So our St. Patrick's Day lady, how about her?
Yeah, 3 looks a little bit narrow as well.
Yeah, I agree. All 3 people look pretty narrow just to start. We've corrected Michael, which is great. How about athlete number 5 with the pink pants?
I think 5 and 6 look pretty good. It's hard to tell because they're far away. Like it looks kind of narrow to me, just looking at their feet, but then also looking at their shoulders. Like their shoulders look super narrow from this far away in the camera too. So I would say that's shoulder width.
Yeah, I think that athlete number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pink pants. I think she looks pretty good. Athlete number 6 looks okay. Athlete maybe a little borderline. He'd be someone I'm like, okay, he's one that I'm gonna like keep my eye on. And then the guy in the blue shoes that you can't really see, but we can see his shoes. He looks like
blue. Yeah, I can't see him, but I think blue is actually maybe a little bit wide.
I feel like he's okay unless is he one of your people that has trouble pushing the knees out?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and so look, here's the deal. Getting their perfect squat stance, seeing it from this far away, and then I'm reading this that I would hate I hate most people's squats. I have to be honest. Like I love correcting and coaching the squat because there's a lot of meat on the bone there. But we're not going to truly know until we watch them squat, right? But what are some things, just for the purpose of this discussion, like it's important to know what potentially can happen, right? And so, Bryson, like, what are some things if someone's too narrow? What are some things that potentially are going to happen with the squat?
Their hips are gonna go too far back at the bottom, and they're gonna try to drop the torso, or probably in a wall squat they'll just lose balance and fall.
They may lose balance.
They have to step back.
Yeah, a wall squat, they may end up even like knee initiating because their torso comes forward. But yeah, losing the balance, they're going to have trouble keeping the torso up. They might have trouble getting to depth. So just knowing all these things, these are all the things I'm just going to be looking for. And especially for something like a back squat, if somebody's feet are too narrow just from the start, and then that's making their torso come forward, and like now we're loading their back, that is going to make it come forward even more. So it's just things to keep in mind as we're even just starting here. If somebody's like a little bit borderline, I'm typically going to make them go a little bit wider, especially because most of the time the chest is just going to come forward more than we want it to. So, all right. So all of that to say that out of the gate, I love that we're only a minute in, but look, it's only 6-minute video, so we've got time to dig into this. Right out of the gate, I just would have loved to hear you give like 1 or 2 more people a setup correction, like before we even get them started.
Full stand. Tyler, drive your knees out. It might help to go slightly wider with your feet too, just a little bit.
Yep, got it.
Half.
Love that.
Full stand. Nice, Tyler. Way better.
Good.
Half. Full stand. Michael, same thing. Drive your knees out, especially in that half squat position.
Okay. The opportunities missed here is just to really get corrections on people with like time under tension. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like anytime, if you're holding them in a position, like what's the point of you holding them in a position? I'm really asking. It's not rhetorical.
Right. I would say I get what you're saying now. Like I could correct him in that position. I guess what I was thinking here is, if I give him a cue about that half squat position, then he has like a little bit more time to just feel what that's supposed to feel like as he's passing through it.
Okay.
And then go into the next one. But just thinking about like your question and everything, it probably should be to fix it in that pause position.
Yeah. It's a static position, right? We're creating a static position. So if you have an opportunity to give that cue while they're in that position and they can make the change there, then you've got, not only will they make the change and feel what it's supposed to feel like and literally do it then and there, but then you're also the thing that you said can also happen. Like now that they have heard push your knees out, they push the knees out. Yep, good. Just like that. That's where I want your knees. Then on the next squat, you can even remind them like, okay, so I want the knees to go out just like they did on the last one or something. And then they have that feeling like you're saying of like passing through the position, but they know where they're going with it because they've already made the correction and the change. And so now it's more of like you're just reiterating it or reinforcing it because you've already made the change. Really, the big point that I'm trying to make is like the point of holding people in static positions is to make their movement better in those static positions. And so if every time you hold them in a static position, you let them stand or whatever, or like reset or whatever, and then say, okay, next time when you're in that static position, here's what you want to do. It's not wrong, but it's just not that most effective and efficient way. Yeah. Because it's like you're giving a cue and you're giving an appropriate cue. Like it's actionable, it's short, what body part is out of place, like all of that is there. Check, check, check. But if you can do it when your athlete's actually in position and make the reason that you're holding them productive, because look, the idea is when we hold our athlete in static position, how many people can you correct?
More than one.
All of them, really. I mean, depending on how quick you are with your cues and how fast your coach's eye is. If
Right.
you've got, how many people do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you've got 7 people holding a quarter squat, I mean, you could easily do 3 to 4 people. Jenny, knees out, so-and-so lift the chest a little bit, so-and-so rock back on the heels just a touch. Good. And go ahead and stand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you're waiting in between reps, now it's one person.
Right.
So what I want you to watch for the rest of these is just kind of notice that every rep you're calling them through these static positions, but not giving them anything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're just leaving a little bit out off the table or whatever. Just destroyed that analogy, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Half, full, stand. Nice, John. Half, full, stand. All right, guys, go ahead and relax for a second. We're going to do one more set of that. We'll just do 10 reps on your own. We're not going to do any pauses on these ones, but it's going to be...
Okay, so I'd be cool with you having them do some reps on their own without any pauses if you just had hammered them with corrections. And so now it's like, all right, we're going to do some in a row. Personally, I'm a really big fan of coach-led reps, like basically almost the entire time, like up until the point where now we're loading and we have to kind of practice, coming out of the bottom, not holding at the bottom, whatever, because we don't want people to people aren't doing singles in their workout, right? And I want, we got to practice that at some point. But I personally am going to have coach-led reps, meaning I'm going to create those static positions. I'm going to hold them. Every rep's going to be on my cue, like more than the other.
Right.
Because if we're having them do, okay, guys, go ahead and just do 10 on your own. Again, we've completely lost the ability to see and correct as many people as possible, because we've got to just everyone's kind of going at different times. And now we're probably maybe 2 people out of the 7 is realistic when that happens, versus if I take them through maybe even okay, we're going to do 5 more on my count, and then you're going to do your last 5 on your own or whatever. Then it really, what it comes down to, Bryson, is are you setting yourself up as best as you can to see and correct as many people as possible?
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. So I would like to go back to the beginning of where you're quarter all the way and you're holding them. And let's just look a little bit and talk about maybe some things that you could give people during those reps to just try to make their movement a little bit better. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We won't do all of them, but, we can start. I don't care where you start. You can just call what you do if you see something.
Tyler, drive your knees out. It might help to go slightly wider with your feet.
Yeah. And again, this right here is, I want to reiterate, that's really great, because not only are you calling him for his knees, but we're also making him a little bit wider with his stance, which I like. So that's really good.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Half, full.
Okay, hold here. All right. So is there anybody at all that we could make any sort of correction to? If you're just they're holding, they're in the static position, and now we're scanning the group.
Yeah, I probably would have said something to AJ or athlete 7, all the way down at the end.
Yep. Okay. Great.
I would have just told him to push his knees out.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's hard to tell with the wide angle. I remember athlete 2 and 1 looking really good. From this angle, it kind of looks like maybe I could tell athlete 2 to push his knees out.
Yeah, athlete 1's a little hard to see. I can see what you mean, though. She looks pretty she's got that nice ankle flexibility. It looks like she's pretty deep. Her feet are flat on the ground, etc. Athlete 2, there's some things that I would like to correct on athlete 2. So for starters is his stance. Like he's just pretty narrow. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. And because he's narrow, that's just like his torso's dipping forward a little bit. You can even see see how his elbows are bent?
Yeah.
Like his elbows are bent because the wall's right there, right? And so usually in my experience, when you have an athlete that is a little bit narrow and the torso is kind of coming forward, but then the elbows are bent, like if we forced him to try to lift his chest more, to straighten out his arms, what do you think would happen?
Probably fall backwards.
Yeah, he'd probably fall backwards. But I bet if we just widened up his feet a little bit, he'd be in a little bit of a better position. Either way, I either want to cue him to, when on the next rep, like widen your feet up a little bit, or try to lift his chest a little more, so that, because the bent elbow like that is a little bit of an indicator that like we need to get the chest up a little bit more. So
yeah.
What about green shirt, athlete 3?
She's a little bit high. I think this was already in the bottom position, or
they're holding in the bottom right now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks a little bit high, and maybe a wider stance would help with that too.
I agree.
Also, just you mentioning like the bent elbows, like I know I told them to go shoulder width or closer at the start, and I checked it at the setup, but I pretty much never, like just thinking back on it now, I don't think I ever really looked at their hands again.
Yeah.
Or their arms.
Yeah. And really the arms, again, that's more, I'll consider a little bit more of like a symptom, because sometimes, again, it's like maybe their shoulder mobility is bad, or, whatever. But when I see narrow stance and torso forward and arms bent, and maybe, I mean, the girl in the green looks pretty darn close. It is really hard to tell at this angle, but she does look pretty close to the wall, huh?
Yeah.
Or are they a little further away than it looks like they are?
It looks like everyone's really close, and I know that they weren't that close. But I mean, yeah, she's probably close.
Okay. We don't need to nitpick how close they are to the wall, but okay. Is there anything else that you see? Because again, it's pretty small, but if we're talking about all the points of performance that we want to see with the squat, it looks like her heels are off the ground to me.
For the green,
yeah,
looks like it a little bit. So again, maybe just slightly wider and knees out.
Yeah, slightly wider, knees out. Should probably maybe even like a step back from the wall a little bit, because a lot of times with the wall therapy, in order to keep the chest away from the wall, people will just push their knees forward first, because that obviously helps keep the torso go up. So let's watch her just stay on athlete number 3.
Nice, Tyler, way better. Half.
Yeah. So what do we notice anything about the half for her?
Yeah, it's knees and hips at the same time, not really hips first.
Yeah, like her knees are pretty much initiating the movement, which I love the progression you're doing here, like the half and then the full. I like it a lot, but what's the point of the half?
The initiation of the squat, and I would say like you can already tell someone's knees are going to be caving in at that position a lot of the times.
So basically like knees is the thing that you can watch for the half. And we're looking at, okay, are the knees breaking first? And we know, like the hips and the knees are going to bend, are going to bend at the same time. But as long as the hips like are that big thing that's initiating to pull the athlete's weight back, we know that. But if the knees are quite literally initiating the movement and breaking and pushing forward first, we'll see that if we're watching the knees. We'll also see, like you said, if the knees are starting to cave a little bit, we can hold them there. And then that's 2 things that we can check off the list as far as seeing or correcting there. So like nitpicking this, really, because it's like, hey, if we're going to have them do this progression, like this
Yeah.
half full, there's so much that you can really dig into and be super relentless with their movement. Because then, of course, as they start to get the barbell on their back, and do the actual lift for the day, the movement that we're doing for the day, all those things are likely gonna like try to sneak back in, and then you will have already talked to them about it, and you will be able to remind them, especially as the weight starts to get heavy. I mean, the knees caving in is great, because that's obviously, if we're doing it on an air squat, that's going to be something that you're likely going to have to continue to talk about like throughout the lift. But things like knee initiation, squat being too narrow, chest being forward, weight being on the heels, depth, because you're right, like she's not going below parallel. The guy on the far right, athlete 7, doesn't look like he's going below parallel. So yeah, just like, and like athletes with subtle faults are the hardest, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're setting yourself up for success by taking them through this really great like step-by-step progression. You're holding them, quarter squat, full squat, stand. Your instruction to them was really good. You're just leaving, you're leaving off the table the opportunity to just correct them more.
Yeah.
Is really, all it is, which obviously is important. So it's like you're setting yourself up really well. I just want you to take like one more step.
Yeah.
Okay.
Full stand. Michael, same thing. Drive your knees out, especially in that half squat position.
Yeah, and again, I would just love to hear that in the half squat position. Michael, drive your knees out in the half squat. Now he's full. Good, Michael. There, that's great with the knees and stand. Keep doing that next time or whatever. And then that way he's done it. He's fixed it. You've seen it. You've acknowledged it, all within that rep. And so now you don't have to stay there to see if he does it on the next one.
Right.
Half, full, stand. Nice, John.
Good. A lot.
Half, full, stand. All right, guys, go ahead and relax for a second. We're going to do one more set of that. We'll just do 10 reps on your own. We're not going to do any pauses on these ones, but it's going to be the same positions. And as soon as you hit that bottom position, we'll just come right back up to standing. All right, so back to your spot on the wall. Let's get a set of 10.
I mean, also at the very least, if they're going to start again, they've moved, they've shaken everything out, they're like, okay, back to the wall. I still want to look and scan and make sure that everybody's set up correctly, even if I'm going to let them go and do a set of 10.
Right.
Because, I mean, as we know, if you've made some corrections during the bootstrappers, you made some corrections when they're on the wall, more than likely, people are going to still need the reminder of where their feet need to go.
So you're saying like, all right, let's set up, and then 3, 2, 1, go, and then they start their set of 10.
Yeah, if you're going to have them like right here, if you're like, okay, I really wanted them to just do a set of 10, just like not hold positions, warm up, whatever. All right, you guys, so shake it out. Okay, we're going to do one more set. This time you're going to do 10 on your own. No pause in the bottom, just 10 on your own. So everybody go ahead and get set up. Okay, Carol, widen your feet up a little bit. Mike, remember, get those feet where they're supposed to be. Joe, come off the wall just a touch. You're a little bit closer than you need to be. Okay. All right, guys, 10 reps on your own and go, and it's just like those little tiny reminders to them are going to make their 10 reps better, because now they're set up better.
Yeah.
So anytime you have an opportunity to just hold them and just like give a scan on setup, I would take it, because it can be super fast. And again, it's just a chance to like get more corrections and make sure that people are good, because otherwise they're going to get to the wall. They're going to do their 10, and we're probably going to look around and be like, oh, they've reverted back. Or maybe you see something you didn't see the first time, and you do notice that athlete 3 is a little bit too close to the wall or a little too narrow. Just give yourself a chance to, that's the whole purpose of the specific, well, we want to get them warmed up and like prepped and all that stuff. But like a huge, huge purpose, the reason in CrossFit style classes, that we do. It's a coach led warm up so that we can make their movement as good as possible when we're not under any intensity.
Yeah.
So then that way, when the intensity comes, I mean, you know this, but I'm just kind of saying it to reiterate even these tiny little scenarios where it seems like, well, we just did a bunch and I'm just going to have them do 10 more. Well, if there's opportunity to just pause for a second and make sure everybody looks good, even if it's simple as like, all right, guys, go ahead and up to the wall. I'm doing a scan. Everyone looks good. Okay. And go. But at least I've looked and I've determined like I am happy with the setup position of every single person in front of me.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, very rarely happens. Like someone can always be reminded to do something.
Right.
Or even like squeeze your bellies tight. Like you're going to, we need to start with the tight belly. Arms are up, squeeze your belly. Okay. And go. Like just something.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice, AJ. Really drive your knees out at the bottom. Yeah. Try to hit my hand with your
And
knee.
I loved this interaction here.
You're good. That looks good.
And then obviously, as we're seeing, the hard part is now you have all the rest of the athletes doing all their reps without, and it does look like Michael went narrower, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. As to be expected.
Yeah.
It's not his fault. It's just like, that's where he kind of wants to squat. You've corrected him. He's moved it a little bit. And we just have to keep reminding every time he gets in that position.
Yeah.
I love this, how, you're right in there. You're giving him, you're telling him push the knees out that you've told him several times. He's struggling. He's getting warmed up. Like he's working hard. You give him that tactile cue. I mean, that's great. Yeah.
Just warming up.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's working hard. I love it.
Keep focusing on that.
Once you get your set of 10, go ahead and grab an empty barbell and find a spot on the rig. We'll talk about the back squat.
Okay, cool. So now they're going to grab.
I'm never going to get old, dude.
I know you're chatting with him a little bit. If I had to have you, I'll ask you.
Mhm.
Let's say I just watched you do this in real life, right? And we talked about what we talked about, and I'm like, okay, now you're going to do the same thing. You're going to run them through this squat therapy, or wall squat, whatever you want to call it. You're going to run them through it again. What do you think my challenges would be to you? Like, what would you change?
I would say look for more people in the setup just to start. Like before we're even going, that's a time where I could correct multiple people and make sure everyone's as good as they can be before we start getting dynamic. The second thing I would say is make corrections during the pauses, not just after the full rep. And I think probably just maybe move around more and look for more in the pauses as opposed to like staying on one person. I would see something and then get them through the whole rep without looking at anybody else to then correct it at the end of the rep. Whereas like if I'm going to correct on the pause, I can make that correction and then already start looking at other people.
Yeah, you'll
and
just
do
get
more than one person.
Yeah, you're just going to get more bang for your buck. Like general rule of thumb is if someone can fix the position, if we're holding people in position, the purpose is because I want to make static cues and fix right then and there, right?
Mm-hmm.
We do static, hold, the dynamic is moving. Certain things we can't hold our athletes in dynamically, like if we're doing a clean and I'm looking for a hip extension and then a shrug, like timing of the pull or whatever, I obviously can't hold people there. That has to be, next rep. But anytime we're holding our athletes, one of the main reasons is to get them to feel the position they're in. And so I want to make that change while I'm holding them in the position.
Yeah.
And then that is going to then allow you to just like see more people and get more bang for your buck. Yeah. And so everything you said is 100%. And I'm going to add one more thing onto that. And that, again, if I have you do this again, I'm going to tell you that when you're done with that short wall squat session, I would like every single person to have received some sort of attention or cue from you. There's 7 people. I absolutely think you have the ability to do that. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think too, like, you go.
I was just gonna say it maybe as straightforward as like, because there's at one point you're like, that looks great, John. Like it might be as straightforward as that, like that you're just acknowledging that somebody, great depth, Jenny, whatever. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I was saying, like, watching this, I don't think I ever really gave two different people like a cue ever on the same rep.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what I was saying earlier. Like if I'm making corrections in the middle of the static position, it's way easier to do that because right now, like I'll see something, but then it's like, okay, once I see it, what I was doing here was, okay, get them through this rep. So then I can tell them about that.
Yep.
Where I can just tell them right away, and then everyone's still in the static position and I can fix it, or just go to the next static position, fix something else there. Instead of just like find something, get them to finish that rep so that I can tell that person, because that way I can really only ever give one person a cue per rep.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're spot on. Like you are spot on. And the way, especially when you have a bigger class, you've got a lot of moving parts or whatever, the way you're going to correct the most people is by giving multiple corrections when people are in those static positions, and if you're holding them, you're doing it for a reason. And think about like, okay, well, I'm holding them in the bottom of the squat. Why? So that I can see like what the bottom of their squat looks like. Okay, cool. I'm going to give 4 people some sort of a cue: lower, knees out, lift the chest, rock back on the heels, whatever. Cool, stand. Now I've just cued literally 4 different people in one rep, right? And then you can say, okay, next rep, hey, Joe, on this next rep, as you push your hips back, I want you to think about driving your knees out, okay? All right, guys, ready? Stand up tall. I'm going to look around, squeeze your belly, whatever. So I just want to see more cueing from you. And one of the ways you're going to do that is making sure that you're giving those cues in the static positions.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So they're going to get their bars now. I liked your. Let's see. Let me pull you up here. Okay. I'm fast forwarding through this. I know you chit chatted a little bit with them as they're doing all that, which is great. I really like your instruction once they have the bar on the rack. Stylistically, well, let's watch this and then I'll tell you what I was going to say. It's not that big of a deal, so I don't want to spend too long on it, but I just wanted to mention it just for you to take in case you would like. Okay.
So first thing, your J-hook position. If you're in between 2 heights on the rig, go with the lower one. It's just going to be easier. You might have to, stand an extra inch when you get out of the rack, but you'll be fresh then. You don't want to have to get on your tippy toes after a hard set of 5 or 3 reps.
Okay. I love that you're giving them a little bit of tip and advice about where to put their bar and like how high to put their J hooks. It drives me crazy watching people try to like reach on their toes to get the bar back on the rack. It's like drives me crazy. So I really love that you did this. I would have just loved the instruction to happen before everybody put their racks up or their bars up. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, all right, we just finished wall squats. Okay, guys, it's such a simple, it's just to be aware of it. It's like, all right, guys, you're going to go get your bars. You're going to get them on the racks. Come over here for just a second. When you get your J hooks up, just stand next to the rig wherever your shoulder is. I just want you to go like 1 or 2 holes below your shoulder. That's where you're going to set your bars up. Go ahead. You guys have 1 minute. Go get your bars, get them set up. Then we'll meet back here for the next piece or whatever.
Yeah.
And then that way they're not getting their bars up only for you to then instruct them where to put their bars.
Right.
Yeah. Really, really minor. Just like switching the order of that can be helpful. So.
All right. So go with the lower one if you need to. Then before we unrack the bar, we're going to get tight and make sure we have both our feet under us. So I don't want to see anyone unracking in this sort of lunge position. So obviously you guys will be facing into the rig. I'm facing out just to talk to you, but I'm going to get underneath, both feet underneath the bar, get tight first. Then I can take the bar off the rack. I'll take 2 steps back, get into my squat stance. And now it's just like our wall squat. So
I know we haven't watched this part yet, but I'm going to front load what I'm saying. I love your instruction here. It is super clear. You're covering all the things. You're being really straightforward. You're not belaboring any of it, and you're being very actionable. Hey, we're going to get both feet under. We're going to get underneath. You're going to stand up 1-2 steps. Nice brace the belt, all that stuff. And when it's time for them to go, you basically just let them go. This would have been such a good opportunity for you to get everybody under the bar. Okay, athlete 1, whatever, step under the bar. You're going to look, you're going to make sure everybody's height with the bar is set up where it needs to be. All the things you teach them, I just want you to make sure that they're doing.
Yeah.
And you're going to take 2 steps back. Cool. You're looking. All right, everybody brace your belly. Like, you're literally telling them to do the things that you just had them do. And very rarely am I going to, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth at all, but I'm just saying very rarely am I going to take the argument from a coach to be like, well, all of my athletes are super experienced and they've done it a million times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, they still can use a reminder. I will tell you, the amount of athletes that have back squatted a million times that I look around and are still lifting the bar up with like a stagger foot and the height is not correct for them. And then when they go to start, their hands are not in the right position. And it's like, yeah, but they've been coming here for a decade.
Yeah.
So just like, I'll play it. We'll walk through it. And I just want you to be mindful of like, okay, this was a missed chance to really get them in a good setup and get them coach led to start the reps.
Well, yeah. And I think, like, to your earlier point as well, it's not that I couldn't let them go and then, still be able to talk about and fix some of the things, but just making it as easy as possible on myself to fix those things.
100%.
Where,
like you're setting yourself up to see it correct. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
My chest up, hips are going to go slightly back down till my hips are below my knees. Then I'll come back up to standing. Once I'm done, I'm going to walk my bar into the flat part on these J hooks. So I'll just walk it straight into it. Then I can slide down. All right. So I don't need to set it in one at a time. And I'm not just going to try to aim for the bottom of the hook. So I'll just walk it straight into this flat part and then I can slide straight down.
I love all that.
All right. So just like the last set of wall squats, we're going to get 10 reps with the empty bar. You can go at your own speed. You don't have to wait for my call on these ones. And then we'll start adding weight. We'll take like 10 minutes to build to our starting load. All right, so go ahead, find your bar. If you need to change your J hooks to make it a little bit lower, do it now. And then let's get 10 reps with the empty bar. Nice, John. Nice.
Yeah, so do you see, I'm going to talk a little bit about their movement in a second, but do you see how this is just a missed chance to get their setup, like stance, grip, body position, all of that? Because this is the first time they're touching a barbell.
Yeah, and also, like you said, if I had just lined them up and then everything I instructed them on, just double checking it. And like, even just watching this now, like I saw as soon as athlete 2 walked over the barbell, they like took it out of the rack with a split stance.
Right.
And
you
like
just
I just
told
said
them.
not to. Yeah. And I didn't see it then, but I would have if I had like set it up so that, hey, this is what I'm looking for on this step. So they know and I know what I'm looking for, or like I'm reminding myself of what I'm looking for. And like, just like we said, just making it easier.
And like where on the back is the bar going to sit? Where should our hands be? What are our elbows doing? Like all of these things are going to set people up to get them in a proper position. I love the fact that you noticed that she staggered and did that little lunge thing, which it's like with the empty barbell, okay, whatever. But you just told them, I don't want you to do this. This is how I want you to do it. So if you just told them this and she still did it, that is like evidence. It's like people are not going to remember the stance that I told them to get in, or what to do with their chest, or how to hold the barbell, or where to put the hands. Like people they're either not paying attention, and this is nothing bad to our athletes, but it's just like, it's not their job to know all that stuff. Like, we're going to tell them, we're going to help them. And so they're either, their mind is wandering, they're not paying attention, they're thinking about what they have to get at the grocery store when they leave, they're worried about, fill in the blank. And so just because we tell our athletes to do something does not mean they're going to absorb it and they're going to do it. And so that's why we're there, so that we can like make sure that they're doing all of the things. And, of course, all the big points of performance from our movement and the way we want them to like load up and all of that is, that's arguably bigger rocks in the jar than like how we get the bar off the rack. But it's still just a great example of like, you literally just told them, she still didn't do it that right way. And so there's going to be other things that are inevitably going to happen. But yeah, I mean, even just the fact that this is the first time they're doing a back squat, and I just want you to give them more. You did I love. I cannot stress that enough, because I think coaches miss this all the time of like how to take it out of the rack, how to put it back in the rack, how high the rack should be, like, take it a couple steps away. All that stuff is really great. But we still need to cover, where do our hands go? Like, what's our body position? Is everyone set up properly? We did air squats. That's great. But now that the bar is, each athlete has a bar, like what does that look like? And are they in the right spot? Are their feet still, they're going to take a step back. And I maintain that John's feet are too narrow because his torso is pretty forward. Same thing with their green shirt girl. And this is a scenario too that doesn't happen a lot for heavy days, where everybody has their own rack and their own bar. So, right? Everyone has their own rack and their own bar?
Yeah, everyone does. Yeah.
Yeah. So even easier to do some, because it gets a little bit tricky. You got to really have a plan if you're going to be like, there's 3 people per rack. And it's like, okay, athlete 1,
right,
you do the thing. Athlete 2, you do the thing. So that just takes a little bit of planning. But yeah, I think that would have set you up a little bit better here. Because even once they have the bar, it's the very first time we're doing back squats. That's the workout movement. I'm going to still take him through some coach led reps. Like, it's just a barbell. They can hold a barbell at the bottom, or maybe they don't hold the bottom. Maybe the rep's going to start and end in the standing position. You're not going to hold the bottom. I'm going to call a squat. You're just going to squat and then stand up nice and tall or whatever.
Yeah.
But I still would encourage you to keep them moving on your count a little bit more than you are.
Alexia. That looks good, AJ. Which side is the bad side?
Oh, we can't see AJ
Both
here.
now?
It's
Okay. Wow. This heel is creeping up just a little bit, so really focus on driving that outside part of your shoe into the floor.
Cool. Yeah, your cues are good. Like, they're really good. Focus on driving the outside part of your shoe into the floor. That is so clear and actionable, and gives someone something like super concrete to think about. Really, really nice. And I believe that you can see things too. The disconnect here for this session is you're just not giving yourself an opportunity to do it. That's it. Because the teaching is super clear. The cues that you are giving are great. Even just the fact that, like, there was that one time you're like, he's struggling. You gave him the old tactile cue, which I don't tend to. Tactile cues are like my least used one, just because they're
same for me. Probably.
Yeah. And so I hear a lot of coaches are like, oh, you need to balance, like, watching videos being like, he didn't use very many tactile cues. It's kind of like, in a real life coaching environment, who cares? Like, just use whatever cues work. But in that particular scenario, that was a great cue to use for him, because he was working really hard. So I love that. There's just more on all of their movements that's just not being addressed. Yeah. And so even like if we really start digging into it, let's just watch a couple reps of the girl with the gray shirt and the pink pants, because I don't know that I've heard her get any feedback at this point in the video I'm seeing.
Right.
I can't speak for like general warm up, obviously, but let's just watch a couple. So let's say that we have them all standing. I
Nice,
know you're watching
Alexia.
these guys over here, which is good. So she's going to get herself set up. She takes a couple steps back. Cool. Okay. What do we think about just anything that just happened?
I didn't look at how she took the bar out, but I'm just
Okay.
looking at like her stance right now. Looks, again, like it kind of looks maybe a little bit narrow. I don't know. It's like the fisheye lens or like the wide angle.
Oh,
but-
I see. Okay. Yeah, and I mean she's kind of borderline. She looks probably okay. She's not super tall, it doesn't look like.
Yeah.
Hands
And hands.
look good. I think.
I mean, I think they're fine.
Mhm.
When you said it, I realized I didn't say anything about the hands in the setup
Mhm.
position. I would have told them, hey, like basically just outside shoulders, if you can't, like as close as you can get to that position as you're comfortable. Like if it's a really hard position for you and it's going to interfere with your, ability to even like hold the bar or back squat, I don't mind them going a little wider, like Tyler
Mhm.
or like the hoodie, the guy in the hoodie next to her.
Yeah,
is-
he's a little wider, but nothing crazy, right?
yeah. And
Same
then
thing with
at
the
this
guy
point,
in the middle of his squat there, Michael,
Right.
I think. Yeah.
yeah. And then at this point, I know that this is when I walk out of frame. So I'm pretty sure I watch AJ do a couple reps.
Yeah, you're with
When
AJ now at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. So I could have either helped AJ faster, like right away, like not get through a couple reps or yeah, I guess if I help him faster, then I can start looking over at other people sooner too.
Yeah. How do we like Michael's squat stance?
It's a little bit narrow again.
Hmm.
And I don't know if it's in this video, but yeah, it eventually I eventually tell him again.
To go wider.
And yeah, before the barbell.
Yeah, and
or
I just
before, like,
believe
he
that
starts
could have
adding a ton
been
of weight.
and that could have been taken care of right from the get-go if we just
Yeah.
did like the setup, right? And then you can
Right.
look, and again, it's like layering on. I hate to use the word layering. I don't want to make it confusing, but it's like we did the bootstrappers, made some corrections. Cool, we're doing wall squats. Okay, I'm remaking the same corrections. Great. We now have the barbell. Guess what? You're going to have to remake the same corrections because. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I caught him at the bottom of his squat or not, but obviously he's not below parallel here, which I don't know if it doesn't matter. Let's just watch him real quick. I don't know. I think he needs to go a little bit lower. So,
Yeah.
and
I think
all we
with
need to do
the
is
wider
widen his
stance-
feet.
Yeah.
Go a little bit lower. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would add that, like earlier when you said like if you just redid this, like what would you focus on? I gave the two things at the beginning, and then the third thing would be just make all of them coach-led reps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or like you said, at minimum, like basically a check-in to start before everyone starts moving.
Yeah. And just now again, because it's like, hey, we've been doing squats, air squats. Now we've got a bar on our back and things can change. Things can be way different. So just some more instruction there. Let's just watch a couple and we'll finish up here in a second. But I do just want to watch a couple of the gray shirted pink pants girl just to watch. Braces.
That looks good, AJ. Which side is the
Yeah, I
bad
mean,
side?
she looks pretty good. Is there anything like what could you give her right now if she's holding? Let's just pretend we're holding them in the bottom of the squat with the barbell. Is there any cue that you would give her?
I would maybe tell her to like squeeze her shoulder blades together because her elbows are coming forward, almost like a front rack position. So I'd tell her to bring her chest up and squeeze her shoulder blades together a
Yeah,
little bit.
I love chest up, even like cueing what the elbows need to do for sure. She may even, it looks like she may even need to press her knees out. But yeah, absolutely like chest up here for sure.
Both now? Okay, wow. This heel is
think we're
creeping up
coming
just a little bit, so really focus on driving that outside part of your shoe into the floor.
Okay, awesome. Great. Well, this is a perfect spot to end. That's the end of the video. I will tell you that, hold on. I see there's like a question in there. I'll answer that in just a second. For your next video, in addition to a little bit more on the front end, I would love to see a little bit more on the back end too, because the loading phase for a heavy day, I 100% consider still part of the specific warm up.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, what is the guidance? What guidance are you giving them for loading? Are you just like, hey, you guys have 10 minutes to work up to your first set? Or is it like, I want you to do a set of 10 and then add a little weight on and do a set of 7, add a little weight on, do a set of 5? Or how much guidance are you giving? How much are you seeing and correcting movement now that they're starting to get loaded? Because as we know, as soon as load and weight starts to go on, now it becomes harder to maintain. How much guidance are you giving them when it comes to walking around and they want to put more weight on? And you're like, I need you to push your knees out a little harder for me to allow you to put a little more weight on. So all of those things I think could be those are really beneficial to keep an eye on too, as part of the specific warm-up, which honestly is one of the reasons we're going to spend more time on specific warm-ups so that we can like dig into stuff like that. I just want to answer that question really quick. Would Kristin ever use tape or something visual to help give someone a visual reminder as well? Yeah, 100%. Do you do that, Bryson? Do you use something visual, like put chalk on the ground? Or
I was gonna say, maybe chalk on the ground for like foot stance, or this. I wouldn't really use tape for this. I would just tell them to like maybe in like a clean or snatch or something, give them a spot on the floor that's pretty far ahead, or maybe if they're looking at a wall, spot on the wall to look at or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It depends. The chalk, I know, depends on the rules of the gym. I would do it at my gym, but I don't know how Coach Hendel has gotten over the years with the chalk on the ground. But
depends on the day. Yeah,
depends on the day. Depends. Yeah, but I think the chalk to the little chalk marks to remind people where to go for sure. But also, yeah, I mean, you can use that visual to help people remember. A little piece of tape, like just a little piece of tape on the ground, cool. But also, I'm going to still do my due diligence and continue to check back in and be relentless and be like, Michael, you narrowed up on me like a little bit wider. And I'll just keep, because once we fix our athlete the way that we want them to be, it becomes like, I consider it like a snapshot in my brain of what that after picture, like a before and after. It's like, okay, now I have been able to see what it looks like when they get into a good position. So they've shown me they can do it. I know what it looks like. And now forevermore, whenever I look at them, I'm going to compare what they look like in front of me to what that visual I have of them. And so, and so it's just a matter of like continuing to check back. And when we paused it and I'm like, hey, look at Michael's feet, you immediately are like, oh yeah, he went back to where, I mean, you can see it.
Yeah.
So you have the eye, you have all the tools. It's just a matter of like, okay, let's set you up for success so you can use all the tools that you have a little bit more efficiently.
Right.
Does it all make sense? Does it help?
Yeah. I think like the setting yourself up makes a lot of sense, and is definitely, like you said, it's really easy to, well, I guess maybe it isn't easy for everyone, but like I feel like an easier part of coaching is just someone being in front of you and seeing what's wrong with what they're doing. But you have to, in a group setting, obviously set yourself up to be able to do that to as many people as possible. Know the right times to do it. Like you said, in the static positions can make it so you can get to more people. So all that sort of logistical stuff so that you can make the corrections that need to be made and stuff.
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. So just like simple little course corrections there. And I think you'll see there'll be huge impact from it.
Sweet. Well, I'm excited to do the next one. And I'll try, I don't know what you think. I guess we're going to do a few specific warm-up episodes. So I was going to try to not do a heavy day on the next one.
Yeah, let's do
I
a different one.
to this time, but
no, totally cool. And do one with a couple other components in it. Don't worry about doing a heavy day. Yeah, let's look at a more traditional specific warm-up. I think will be great. Yeah, because all the things we're talking about we did a little, like we talked about a few things that are very specific to a heavy day. But most of the things we're talking about are going to be applied regardless. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to go ahead and don't leave yet. Watch this really cool ad that Peter made, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you, Kristin.
All right. Thanks, Bryson.
Here's why you should be proud to be doing Sentinel training and strongly consider joining if you're not. Other programs use long-term repetitive cycles. Sentinel uses 4-week varied progressions, while other programs often slip into movement redundancy or recycle entire training blocks. Sentinel stays true to the CrossFit methodology of constantly varied functional movements. That methodology also guides us in delivering intensity with minimal effective dose, where others favor volume, misrepresenting that as value for money. If you want a hands-off approach with minimal coaching or review, stay where you are. If you want level 3 trainers who care about your progress and test the workouts for you, reviewing your videos, offering coaching and feedback, then you need us. You need Sentinel Training. Start your free trial at trainsentinel.com.